Hey YouTube, today I am just harvesting all of the cilantro seeds, which are called coriander seeds. And these seeds can be used if I grind them up for a spice. They can also be saved for next year's growing of coriander plants. So as you can see, there's a ton of seeds that come off of a cilantro plant here. It grew huge. I grew from seed, and I don't know if you could tell, but it is like it's probably about 4 feet tall if I were to pull it up from the bottom to the top here. And it's really wide. So I've got the seeds here, you can see as I harvest them. I have a few left that are green, but I will leave those to dry out, and once they're brown, they're ready for harvesting. So I'm harvesting them now, and we are now in October, and I'm in a greenhouse. So with zone 3, none of the plant would be green really. I have some cilantro out in the garden as well, but in the greenhouse I've got little bits of green left still, so I'm going to come back later and harvest all the green, and I could preserve that. This is the last of what's alive in my greenhouse. I have mint that I grew from seed, and I'm pretty happy to see that it's grown wild. I know mint is popular for growing like crazy, but I wasn't too sure because I was growing it from seed. I didn't actually find a piece from anybody around me. And this is lemon balm mint. So I will go ahead and harvest some of this as well. So it's a lot of little things to harvest, but for the most part my garden is dead. I've got my row of tomato plants that are dried out. I just have to take them all out, and I will put a bunch of mulch on this garden bed. That produced about 25 pounds of tomatoes. Only 5 pounds of red tomatoes. So the greenhouse did help me a lot, because being in a cooler zone last year, none of my tomatoes got red. Next year I will try the trick where you shovel just around the plant base, and just a little bit of it, like 3/4 of it or half of it, and that's supposed to force the plant into survival mode, where it pushes the plant to hurry up and finish its production and will make the plants turn red faster. So I've heard that trick before. I never tried it, but I will try it next year just to see if I can get more red tomato plants. But 5 pounds of red tomatoes and 20 pounds of green. I found a couple of different ways to process those green tomatoes, so it was all good. It's productive. Here I had late planted some turnips here. So because they're in the greenhouse, hopefully they will grow. They're growing still. Got a few growing. So it's nice to have something growing still. And kind of exciting because I've never planted turnips before. And I have a nice big beet growing here, which I don't want to harvest because it's kind of exciting to have a beet that's fully growing. Last year I didn't have any, and it's been at least 5 years since I've ever grown a beet. My parsley is growing beautifully. I started this from seed, and it's big and bushy. I have one more out in the garden that the deer have managed to eat some of. And these turnips, I don't know if they're going to really do anything because they weren't planted very far apart from each other, so that's my bad. I threw the seeds down and just walked away pretty much. So these turnips are growing very slowly, and I don't know how far I'm going to get with these. There might be quite a few tiny little ones because of the fact that I planted them so closely together. But I guess I can do next year. I probably will the mistake I made wasn't necessarily throwing a bunch of seed down, but the mistake was not thinning it out as I saw them growing. So they are growing, but very slowly. And these are okra plants that did not make it. They were so close, because I read somewhere that when you grow okras, from the time of flowering, it's about 3 to 4 days before they start growing okras. And I got to the flowering spot, and about 1 to 2 days after the flowering, the frost came. So next year, if I plant them a little earlier, I probably can get away with okras. But to be honest, I am not going to be planting going forward too many exotic foods. I'm going to stick with things that grow really well in my zone. That way I can have a big harvest and actually just concentrate my efforts on things that our family will actually eat. I love okras, but I can pretty much guarantee you that my children will not be eating okras. So I'm going to harvest the seeds of my marigold plants that I did grow from seed. And I only ended up with a few of them, but all I need is one good plant, which this one is my giver. I have another one sitting in my porch that I'm holding on to, but this one, as the flowers die off, I found out this year, after all these years of buying marigolds, that I can actually reharvest them and get a whole bunch of seeds. So from this one head that's drying out, if I pull on it, you can see this is seed. So I'm gonna go ahead and harvest the seed a little better after, but the little black tips, I don't know if you can see that, that's a seed. So I'm gonna just harvest as many as I can. So it's more like inside the seed head. So I'll just pull the whole bud and open it up. So peeling back just one flower head, you can see inside here is a whole bunch of seeds. And I love marigolds because not only are they pretty, but they deter so many things. The true marigolds, if you find those, I found these seeds online, and these marigolds are the true ones. I think they're African marigolds. I'm not quite sure of the name. And they deter the nematodes in the soil. They deter bugs. They deter rabbits, groundhogs, even deer. So what is really handy about these marigolds is that not only are they pretty, but they also deter pests and animals that might try and invade your garden. From one bud, I've got all these seeds. And I didn't know that. This is my first year harvesting the seeds. Looking forward to all of my free marigold plants next year. They almost look like quills. They don't feel sharp or anything, sharp or prickly, but they look sharp and prickly. The rest of the heads I'm going to leave to further dry on my porch because I noticed that some of them are slightly damp. So I'll let them continue drying on my porch just in case we get more rain or, God forbid, some early snow. I'll have all these seed heads ready to go for next year. I'm not sure if it's because of the weather that we had this year with the cold and then the really hot, dry weather, but the flower heads took quite a while to grow. Most of my marigolds didn't flower until late to mid-September, which is really late. But the benefits of marigolds are still there even when they're standing in the soil as a green plant. I'm not sure if it had to do with the weather, but next year I'll be more able to see if the weather's a bit more normal. And I had pre-grown them by about 4 weeks indoors before putting them out. So I'm not sure if anybody knows about marigolds, growing them from seed, if it's normal for them to flower so late in the year. I'm just a little surprised because I've always bought them at the store and they're all flowering and ready to go when you get them at the store in May. So I don't know if that's normal or if it has to do with the variety that I got, because the variety is the true marigold that has all the deterrent qualities that everybody knows about marigolds. But some of the ones at the store that you buy are not that type. They're more decorative and they don't do the same things in your garden. So here's a part of the garden bed that's got something growing. We've got a little bunch of mint that I transplanted here, and there's the parsley that is half eaten by the deer.